We're talking must win. Is this must win for the Eagles this week? Is this offseason must win for the Phillies? Is it must win for Sixers and Flyers? I don't know. Trending in the PM special appearance. We are live in 30 seconds. And a very good evening on a special Tuesday night edition of Trending in the PM. We are live on the STT Sports Network for a special late night, early evening episode. Please, wherever you're watching this, even if it's on replay, hit that like button. Please share this out. And, of course, subscribe to the STT Sports Network YouTube page. Starting tonight at 758 subscribers. Maybe we can gain a few new followers tonight with this special late night edition. Also, if you're watching on Twitter, the only place to vote on the show poll question of the night is over on the YouTube page. And the YouTube poll question tonight: is Sunday a must-win game for the Eagles? Yes or no? Pretty simple question, pretty simple answer right there. Yes or no. That's all you got to do. We got lots happening. I'm Phil Stiefel, your host. Again, like, share, subscribe. Do it all. As we are talking Eagles tonight, we are talking Phillies, we're talking Sixers, Flyers, we're talking it all. Literally, everything is on the table tonight, but we obviously start with the Eagles to kick things off. A, is this must win for our Philadelphia Eagles? And B, the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson rumors. Do you want Chauncey Gardner-Johnson back in Philadelphia? Now that he's been released by the Ravens, second team this year to release him, the Texans first and now the Eagles. There's a lot of mixed feelings floating around social media right now on the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson front. Some want him back, some don't. Some think it's an obvious match to bring him back. Some don't. Some worry about his locker room etiquette or his relationship with the team. Some just look at the playmaking and swagger he brings. It's a very interesting conversation to kick tonight off with, talking, about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, the situation there. Adam, what's up, my man? Can't lose 3 in a row and got help this week by Cowboys and Washington losing. Absolutely agree. Great point with the Cowboys and the Washington aspect of it there. Definitely. Flyers played a real good game last night. I know. I even watched some Flyers hockey last night. I even gave the black and orange a little bit of my time last night, and it was enjoyable. I enjoyed watching some Flyers hockey for a change last night. Sean Couturier had a huge game, so it was great to see. It's going to be building block-wise this season for the Flyers. We'll see how they do. But anyway, to get to the Eagles here, the Eagles have an obvious issue in the secondary. Obviously, Quinyon Mitchell, we don't know what his status yet is. Vic Fangio spoke, and we don't know. He doesn't know yet. He said Adoree Jackson will take over the second cornerback spot. But without Quinyon, you're going to still potentially see Quinyon or Keely Ringo. We're also hearing rumors about Mac McWilliams getting some playing time at cornerback. Drew McCuba, we've talked about it, has not been great. He's been good, but not great as a rookie, which is understandable. He's a rookie. I get it. Reed Blankenship's had a down year. Very classic of him, right? So all these things mixing together, right? And you got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson becoming available. We need edge help. We need offensive line help, a tight end. We need so much help on this team. We now have 2 empty practice squad spots and an empty roster spot. And when he got released by the Texans, I was not in or considering wanting to bring Chauncey Gardner-Johnson back. But now, as I've seen 6 weeks of the season unfold, how can you not want to bring Chauncey Gardner-Johnson back. He would instantly bring that swagger that this defense is severely lacking. Adam going 33-22 Vikings. That's way too soon for a prediction. We don't even know who the starting quarterback. We assume that it's the Carson Wentz revenge game. Well, J.J. McCarty started practicing this week. So we don't even know who we're facing as a quarterback. I actually think it's easier to face J.J. McCarty than it's Carson Wentz, which is crazy. Yes, we are calling it the night shift. The night shift. I like that. The night shift is alive tonight with Trending in the PM. I can't do a show tomorrow morning. I got some things going on at the pizza shop. So I had to bail on tomorrow morning. So I figured, you know what? I got no plans tonight. Let's talk a little Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Let's talk a little Eagles or Phillies. Let's talk a little Sixers. I'm reeled back in. Placing some bets on the Sixers tonight. Is Howie going to try and get someone outside of Gardner-Johnson? Yes, but the thing is, we traded 2 draft picks in Tank Bigsby, other draft picks, in some of the other deals we've made this season, John Mechie, whatever, Fred Johnson. So that plethora, that cupboard of draft picks we had, Adam, is a lot smaller. So if you want to go out and get an edge, whether it's an elite edge like Trey Hendrickson or a fringe player, you are slimming down on what you have in the trade cupboard, right? They absolutely need to add 1, maybe 2 players to that defensive end group, right? So you can't spend draft capital to get a cornerback or a safety. So you go out and just pick someone like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson up, and it makes your job a little easier on what's next to add. You can put him on the practice squad. You can elevate him. You can do whatever. You don't even have to waste a roster spot on him. They cut Javon Baker, the wide receiver, and Audric Estime from the practice squad today. So there's spots for him. Locker room can't get any worse. Bring Cray J, GJ back. Look, say what you will about the personality of Chauncey. Like, I got all pissed off when he left the first time after 22, trash talked us on the way out. And when he got brought back, everyone's like, don't worry about it. Okay? He apologized. He came back, whatever. Talk trash on the way out again. Everyone's saying he was released because he was a locker room cancer. No, he was released or traded to Houston for financial implications and financial implications only. Plain and simple. It was really straight up financials, okay? And maybe a little bit that Vic Fangio and him don't really fit, mesh, whatever. This locker room maybe could use somebody like CJ to shake things up a little bit. This locker room could use a guy like Chauncey to maybe hold some players accountable and call people out. Maybe this locker room needs somebody not afraid to be loudmouth and, mix it up with opposing teams. You think if Chauncey was here, that the Giants would have laughed all over us on Thursday Night Football? Probably not. Again, I'm not at all the biggest CJ fan. I don't like antics or distractions. But this team is severely lacking, and he could solve some of those problems pretty easily, in my opinion. You bring him in, start running some dimes. You can play him or Drew Makuba in the slot if necessary. You can do a lot of different things there. So I think bringing him in is a win-win situation. You're going to get him super cheap. Here's the other thing with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He's pretty young. He's actually really young. I think it was 26, 27. He ain't going anywhere. He's playing in the NFL more after this year. If there has been any drama on the Chauncey front, you got to think wherever he goes, the Eagles, any other team in the NFL, he's going to be on his best behavior because he's going to be a free agent at the end of the season. He's going to want to get paid again. He's going to need to find another team in the offseason. So he's going to behave. He's going to put his best foot forward. He's had his ego slapped right off of him. Now's the time for him to go out there and prove what he's worth. CJ might have put Scatterboo or Dart on their back pockets. Absolutely. Who was it? Was it Jihaad Campbell was the one that Jackson Dart threw his helmet into, launched himself. And Jihaad Campbell, because he's been penalized already, kind of backed off a little bit and let Jackson Dart safely get the first down. Let me tell you something. If that was Chauncey Gardner-Johnson run down that sideline, Jackson Dart ain't launching himself at CJ. He knows what would happen if that happened, right? No offense to Adoree Jackson, and Vic Fangio called Adoree Jackson out today in his presser about the weak attempt on the tackle on the goal line that Cam scored a touchdown on. Call him out. You got to tackle better. You got to be better, right? Chauncey Gardner-Johnson might not always be the best tackler, but when there's an opportunity to make a big, bold splash play, Chauncey's always there. Because Chauncey cares about the highlight reels, right? Chauncey cares about the boom, right? That's what matters the most. So again, I get it. I get the fear. I get the frustration with the person, the player. I get all that with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. But honestly, at this point, how can we not at least make an attempt to bring him back into the fold? Seagull's defense is in a bad way right now, and we could use some help. Absolutely could use them. I mean, Vic Fangio spoke about a bunch of other things as well in his presser today. At least you get information from him, because you don't get that information from Kevin Patullo. With it, he can come home, ride with us to another Super Bowl, then cuss us out in the offseason. Yeah, I don't care what you do when you walk away. You bring us titles. Here's another thing. Look at Reed Blankenship. He's been struggling this year, right? Not so great his rookie year. Played with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson 22. Looked great 23. Not so great. Played great in 24. Without Chauncey this year, Reed. It's kind of like Chauncey and Reed need to be side by side for both of them to find their best success. I would take him back out of desperation. I mean, it's the cheapest form of fixing one of the problems on this team, right? You're going to have to spend big to fix the edge position. You might have to spend on cornerback, offensive tackle, or guard, or tight end. You might have to see that, right? Let me tell you something. You don't got to spend. All you got to do is sign him to your practice squad and elevate him. He's already been here. He knows the system. He knows the playbook. It's an easy transition for him to get back into the gear here. Don't be quitting already, Marshawn. Dude, if you knew what I did before this show, you'd be laughing at me even harder, Marshawn. And I'm going to tell you, I went ahead and placed a $5 on the Sixers to win the NBA championship because they're 35-1, Marshawn. If you knew, I dropped $3 on Joel Embiid in MVP season because he's a former MVP and his odds were 100-1. I'm not mailing it in, though. I'm giving you 110% with honor, sir. Okay? With honor. Jalen Carter is mailing it. No, just kidding. I know what you're saying. And there isn't no mailing it in. But maybe there is something to that. Are the Eagles mailing it in? Have they started resting on their laurels? Have they given up already? Have they quit to an extent? And I don't know the answer to that. I don't think they have mailed it in the way you are kind of throwing it out there. I think that there's some problems. And I'm just not sure whether they have the leadership to right the ship. Mailing it in like Karl Malone, I don't know about that. I think you missed an E there. That's a price of a half a cheese pizza. What? That's price of a half a cheese pizza. Right, yeah, exactly. Look, the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson thing isn't going to save the season, okay? Chauncey Gardner-Johnson returning would not save anything. What Chauncey Gardner-Johnson bringing back or coming back would do is fix one of many issues. Phil, what's up, guys? How you doing? We're here. We're talking Eagles. We're talking Phillies, Sixers, whatever. Questions, thoughts, opinions on anything you got happening in Philly sports right now. We're going to be live for an hour, hour and a half. We'll see how the show goes. We'll see how quick this really not so great 10% beer takes me to drink. I brought a second down, but it's not that good, so I don't know if I'll be drinking two or not tonight. Only highlight of this year is the Christmas album. You know what, though, Marshawn? If we go to the Super Bowl every other year and win some of them, I don't care. I'll take a down year after a Super Bowl every year. Right? To an extent. Maybe? Am I being too generous? Todd Green, how you doing tonight, my man? Hope you are well. We're doing a little, not late night for me, late night sports talk here. Might go till 9, 8:30, 9 o'clock. I don't know. We'll see how we do it. Phil says, pay Kyle Schwarber. Look, I don't have a problem if they pay Kyle Schwarber. I also don't have a problem if they let Kyle Schwarber walk. Some of the numbers I'm hearing floating around about a Kyle Schwarber next contract, ludicrous. But I also think there's only 3-ish teams that are willing to pay him. The Phillies being one. Obviously, the Cincinnati Reds, his home team. I think Boston will be in on it. Not too many other teams will be in on Kyle Schwarber. All the big money spending teams have a power hitting DH already. But this team needs change. So if they let Schwarber walk to be some of that change, I'm okay with it. We got a lot of people jumping in now. If you haven't yet, vote on the poll, like, subscribe, share this out, people. Let's get this. Let's have a very productive evening show night. See you next year. Well, you got to be watching something this year. What are you going to do the rest of the year? Well, football, the Sixers, you can watch Flyers hockey. I think Ridley Scott is mounted. He might be. Irish Drew, what's happening? Stevens would be better if they had more time to rest. Absolutely. And look, lots of problems. I got all the third down efficiency stats for the year, last 3 games. Look, 52 of their 75 third downs have been over 5 yards. 3rd and 5 or longer. 29th in the NFL. Stay on the field as offense would make the defense a little bit better. But yet you listen to Kevin Patullo talk, Drew, and Kevin Patullo, like, you think he learned from how Nick Sirianni. No, he surpassed Nick Sirianni in dropping word salads. Go look at his quote from Lane Johnson, or his quote about Lane Johnson's quote. It's ludicrous. Straight up ludicrous. Like, he says nothing. There's no accountability. Talking about, oh, well, it's all situational, the problems. Yeah, the situation is your offense can't move the football. After a few meetings with the locker room, they are talking about benching Hurts. No, they're not. There is nobody in their world talking about benching. Todd, you're either on some really bad Facebook pages or you're reading the wrong tweets. Nobody's benching Jalen Hurts. Save Jalen for next year, yeah. I would rather watch the Cowboys lose than the Eagles this year. I don't know about that. Not the Mets, plus Alonso is not going back to Mets. I believe he's Schwarber's replacement. Yeah, I don't know, John, how I feel about it. And what's up, John? Good to see you tonight. I don't know about the Pete Alonso. If you're going to bring Pete Alonso in to platoon with Bryce Harper as first base DH, sure, like half the games he can play first base, half he can DH, Bryce Harper the opposite. I'm fine with that. But if you're bringing in Pete Alonso to move to move Bryce Harper to right field, I'm not okay with that. I don't like the idea of putting Bryce Harper back out in the outfield. A, he's become a very good first baseman. Secondly, I just don't like that risk it puts on him. Why do they keep hating on Hurts? Josh Allen is the same quarterback. But, yeah, no, look, the Josh Allen, I get it. And I've seen it all today, Drew. And I've kept my mouth shut, okay? Kept my mouth shut on all that today. And so you could throw Jaden Daniels into that conversation as well, Drew. Now, Howard Eskin didn't say they're considering it. Howard Eskin says this team would be better with Tanner McKee than Jalen Hurts. And Howard Eskin just like his son, is a nitwit and an idiot and a rage clickbait monster. They say the most insane shit on shows like Dan Simpleton's show. Nonsense talk, okay? There's nobody in their right mind that thinks that Tanner McKee is better than Jalen Hurts. All right? Howard Eskin lost it up here 2 decades ago, Todd. So whatever Howard Eskin says, just ignore it. Alonzo is too racially ambiguous. Yeah, what would Mista say about that? He's already got problems with that. I'm a big fan. Good evening. I almost said good morning. Good evening, little G. Yeah, he's the kiss. He's not the wet bandits. He's not the sleepover bandits. He's the kiss bandit. Yeah, he's a bum. And, it breaks my heart to say that, guys. It does, Phil, Marshad. Because when I was a kid, growing up in the late 80s, early 90s, I couldn't wait to listen to Howard Eskin on the radio. I mean, probably is one of the reasons why I'm so into sports talk and stuff like that. But people like him are what's wrong with the sports media industry locally and abroad? All they care about is getting clicks. They don't care about content or putting out good conversations. They just want to say the most asinine, insane things. And even if they get bashed, they don't care. Because every person that shared out that Jacob Media clip of Howard Eskin talking about Tanner McKee, every click that got made him and them more money. Meanwhile, there's me and dozens of other great content creators out there that can't get any clicks because we won't say stupid shit. I'll say something stupid. Howard Eskin, you're a bum. I'll say it to your face. Howard Eskin seeks the mistletoe at every Christmas party. He brings mistletoe with him. He's one of those guys that's got like a stick hanging over his head with mistletoe. So he just walks around the mall or the Walmart or whatever, just kissing random strangers. KP and Nick use it. Use it in Etch-a-Sketch is what I think you're trying to say. Yeah, 100%. It's all about the clicks. It's all about the clicks. Eskin has to have some success. He has been in the sports. Yes, I get that, Todd. I get it. 10, 15, 20 years ago. All he is now is a grumpy old man because he's been fired from more jobs than humanly possible because he's got caught kissing women in public that don't want to be kissed, groping women. Howard Eskin is part of what's wrong. 20 years ago, absolutely, Todd, you're right. 30 years ago, he's what made me have my first major in college be journalism. But now, he's just a crumb bum. He's upset that no one cares about him anymore. It's time for Nick to shave. It's time for somebody to shave their head. I was thinking maybe A.J. Brown shaving his locks. Maybe that would be the wake-up call. Up until 5-7 years ago, I respected Eskin, but I honestly think he's a piece of trash. Well, personally, he is a piece of trash, right? I think I lost interest in his sports takes at least a decade ago, John. At least a decade ago. KP and Nick Etch-a-Sketch for the wide receiver routes. It's not pretty. Crumb bum. I love the word crumb bum. Yeah, I watched a lot of non-Eagles football this weekend. And I saw so much creativity out there in routes and play designs. And here we are running. I just watched a video before we went live of Brian Baldinger breaking down the predictability of the Eagles offense. And they ran 3 times the exact play. And by the 3rd time, it was just shut down. Brutal. I think he still got that chick he got fired for in his phone. Didn't Howard Eskin also get somebody like murdered or something like that? Howard Eskin thinks he's Rick Rude from the 80s. He does. He does. AJ doesn't even recall meeting with Saquon and John. That's not what he said. All right? Now you're trying to be Howard Eskin and stir the pot, right? If you see his first comment when he said, I don't remember any meeting, and he gave a little wink and a smile. And then the second time, it was, he explained it. Oh, look, we talked out by a car. It wasn't like a private meeting in a meeting room. How much of the Giants' loss should be on Hurts? Is he calling his own plays at the line? No, he's not calling his own plays. But Giants' loss is on Hurts, absolutely. There is not one member. Actually, I shouldn't say that. There are 2 members of the Eagles team that were not to blame on Thursday night, Phil. And that's Braden Mann and Jake Elliott. They're two kickers. They're two special. That's it. Everybody else failed. That was a complete and total failure from the team. Jalen Hurts missed passes. The line missed blocks. Everybody. How long before we see a trade? You'll see a trade. I would have thought it would have happened over this weekend. Now, probably after next week. Look, you got 2 games, Sunday and then the following Sunday. Then you got the bye week. November 4th is the trade deadline. So I'd say in the next week or so, you're going to see, you're going to see at least one trade for an edge rusher. You might see some depth at guard or tackle, and you might see a tight end trade. But let me tell you something. I would almost be shocked if they trade for a cornerback at this time. We know Nick Sirianni's strength is not calling plays. I think that's what's happening. Well, he's not calling the plays, Nick Sirianni. Kevin Patullo is. And Kevin Patullo was trained by Nick Sirianni. And that's a problem. When you have an offensive coordinator play caller that's struggling, but your head coach can't strip him of play calling because he can't take it over, that's a problem. You can bring lots of Phillies questions. I would love to talk Phillies tonight as well, Phil. Phillies questions. Thoughts on moving Alec Boehm, or do we keep him? I think Alec Boehm or Bryson Stott, one of them has to go. I'm not sure who has more value in a trade. Okay? Whoever's got more trade value, you move them. Hell, you might move them both. I want to see Adam Miller up next year from day one. I know he's young. I know they say he's not quite ready. I want to see Adam Miller up immediately with the Phillies and Justin Crawford and Andrew Painter. Hell, throw Gage Wood into the equation. So I'm absolutely on board with trading one of those two guys without a hesitation. I heard Kelly Ringo is being demoted to janitor. Absolutely. But you might actually see him playing again on Sunday if Quinyon Mitchell can't go. We won't know about Quinyon Mitchell till tomorrow afternoon after practice, what his situation's going to be like. Trade Turner. I've seen some people talk about that today on social media. I want to see a drastic change. Trey Turner had a really good year this year, though. Even improved defensively. So I don't know about Turner. I don't know. You think they're going to bring the bubble screens back? I hope not. I saw so many screens of all kinds work in the NFL this weekend. I'd be more willing to deal Boehm. Yeah. Who plays third base? Can Miller play third base? Sure. Trade Boehm. He's got 1 year left of arbitration eligibility, I believe. So he's going to be fairly cheap. Stott might have 2 years of eligibility left, so whatever. You can move on from Boehm. I'm fine if they move on from Boehm. I said it earlier this week, maybe, that I'm okay if every single one of their free agents walks. Now, I find it hard to let JT Realmuto walk because you don't have another option, but this team needs change. What's good, Reality Check? How you doing? We're doing a late night for me, show tonight. Trey Anderson or Phillips or Chubb from Miami. And hell, I brought up Stephen Gilmore on the morning show, or at least I meant to. It's in my notes. The free agents: Justin Simmons, Chauncey Gardner, Justin Simmons, Stephen Gilmore. Christian Wilkins is still out there. C.J. Uzma is still out there. See, the thing is with the edges. Here's the problem with all the edges that are available. Okay, John, I got lambasted, crushed, destroyed for suggesting trading for Hendrickson in the offseason, August, when he was still holding out. You can't trade a third-round pick for him? No way. Now everybody wants him, right? Because they see how weak we are at that position, right? But now because 9 other teams need him, his price just went up. Every team around the league knows we need him. The price for Trey Hendrickson has skyrocketed, okay? Yeah, Phillips works, Chubb works. You throw Jermaine Johnson's name in there. I think they're going to give Jihaad Campbell a serious look this week with significant snaps on the outside. And then that'll determine how much they have to invest in the position. Wanted to see Painter this year. Was surprising. I mean, he struggled in the minors. There's no doubt about it. Sometimes it's time to shit or get off the pot, right? And this is the time. Zach Wheeler's not going to be there to start the season. I'm letting Ranger walk because I'm not paying Ranger Suarez 5 years, $125 million or whatever it is he's going to get paid, $130 million. Not doing it. So you're going to bring him up next year. You're going to have not in this order, Enola, Luzardo, Sanchez, Painter rotation next year. You have to. Did Bryce Harper let the Phillies down? That's a tough question to ask because you're asking me who am I putting blame on for the Phillies' loss. I would say he, along with Schwarber and Turner, all had equal parts to play in the postseason failures this year. So if you're going to say Harper let this team down, then you kind of got to say Schwarber did. And then you got to say Turner did as well. Move on from Stott. He sucks. I don't know if Bryson Stott sucks. I think he's a really great defensive second baseman. Started to turn his season around. He's not as young as we think anymore. Painter struggled a lot this year in AAA, so I was happy they didn't bring him up. But it's time. It's time. You do it now or you do it never, right? Yes, there is the third baseman from Japan, and I know the Phillies claim to be interested. For some reason, the Phillies just never seem to really be in on the Asian players. They never seem to get those guys from Japan and Korea, at least not the top ones. They'll get some of the back-end guys, or later in their career they'll come here. But no, I mean, we're not normally in on them. But sure, go get him. That would be a big money move. Now, you go get that guy from Japan, you're definitely letting Schwarber walk then and Ranger Suarez walk, because that's a lot of you're. I think I saw a projection of $200 million for that guy, but they're just not regularly coming here. They want to stay on the West Coast, or they want to go to small cities, small sports media markets. Convinced the only people on the Eagles who watch other NFL games is Fangio and his staff. Nick and KP just watched the Rams and Buck game and scratched their heads for 10 hours. Yeah, I don't know what they do. We get a lot of excuses on the offense. Vic Fangio is blunt and honest. And that's what makes Vic Fangio and Nick Sirianni perfect. Like the yin and the yang, the positive guy and the blunt guy. Did I say blunt? Got to start thinking about a Luzardo extension soon. Yeah, he's got 1 year left of eligibility as well before he's gone. Pitched well, especially at the end of the season. So, yeah, you got to think about it. Stott still sucks. And I get it. He frustrates me. Look, I'm a guy, Drew, that thought he was going to be the future leadoff hitter of this team. And that's so far from the truth. So far from reality. Asian players, Noobs, I agree. We are last on their list. And part of it's the Philly reputation. Part of it's its location. There's so many different aspects of it. I have to admit it, Bader surprised me. He's definitely a keeper. But do you understand? Phil, I want you to do me a favor after the show, not right now. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. I want you to go look at Bader's career. I don't know if you know this, he's 31. He'll be 32 early next season. So he's been around a lot longer than you realize, probably. And this could be an aberration. There's a chance that this was a little one-hit wonder. And he is cashing in on his first real good season. He is going to command about 3 years, about $50 million. That's a big risk to take on was he a one-hit wonder or not? Or a late bloomer? It's a big risk. Big risk to take. Now, I love his vibes, his personality, and what he could be leadership-wise. That I love. Will Cooper Dejean move to corner and bring Chauncey Gunner? Look, to outside corner, it depends on what the situation with Quinyon Mitchell is. I don't expect Quinyon Mitchell to play. I want Chauncey Gardner-Johnson back for sure. Yeah, I don't know. Vic Fangio spoke today that Mac McWilliams might get a shot this week. So you might have an Adoree Jackson, Cooper Dejean, Mac McWilliams trio. If I'm Vic Fangio, I'm having Cooper Dejean, Shadow, Justin Jefferson the entire game. You don't want Adoree or Killy. They'll get eaten alive out there. There's a part of me that doesn't want to trade for anyone, period, unless this reality check. I kind of hinted on this on Monday on the show, maybe Friday after last week. Like, there's got to be a point where you say, is it worth? You have 8 draft picks next year, 2/3 and 1 in all the other rounds. You need an elite offensive lineman to replace Lane eventually. You need a top-tier tight end. You got to get younger wide receiver. You need a lot of stuff on the offensive side next year at the top end of the draft. You go trade a second and third round pick to pick up some players, and you don't win because this offense stinks. It's a big mistake. I don't disagree with this theory at all. Bader has a small shelf life wherever he goes. But I still think that a team will overpay, right? I do feel the overpay is coming from somebody. And I love Bader. And in the heat of the moment, yeah, I want Bader here. But when you really take a step back and think about it, with Justin Crawford coming up, hopefully this year, I think you can accept moving on from him. Dejean going to stay nickel because he's the best tackler. What's up, Zach? How you doing? Make sure everybody watching, including you, Zach, has liked this video, shared this out, subscribe, vote on the poll question. I agree, and I've been in this boat nonstop, that you don't take him out of the slot. He's the best slot corner in the game. He's exactly what you need in a Vic Fangio defense. But if you're going to the game without Quinyon Mitchell and you've got a Dory Jackson, Keely Ringo, and him, you might have to move him outside at times. You might. What's up, Padre Jose? How you doing? Keeping Nola over Rangers a head scratcher. Well, Nola's locked up, unfortunately. So because you paid Nola, you got to let Ranger go. If you look at deals of top free agent left-handed pitchers over the last couple of years, he's looking at ballpark 5 years, $150 million. Maybe 130, 150 million. You've already got a lot committed to Wheeler, a lot committed to Nola. You're not necessarily going to commit that kind of money to Ranger as well. I don't trust Ringo on anybody, Eric, on Adam Thielen or anybody. But that's the reality of the situation we're facing on Sunday. Now I'm hoping the rumors that J.J. McCarty might start are true, because it makes our job easier if we're going up against McCarty versus Carson Wentz, which is crazy to say, but it's true. At the press conference here, he had a clueless look on his face when asked about the offense. Talked a lot about, we're not worried about the problem, we're looking for the answer. Well, if you don't know what the problem is, how can you figure out the solution, right? And that really annoyed me. And I'm a big Nick Sirianni guy, Todd. But being a big fan means I'm allowed to criticize even more. It's only worth a draft pick if you believe Landon, Cam, Carter, and Jordan are all salvageable this year. If so, then pull the trigger. If not, then forget. And I agree. And that's why I don't think they are rushing drastically into a trade, because Howie wants to see another week or two to see if they can get their heads out of their asses, right? For sure. I'll get to that. Sorry. Yes, we need to stop bailing these guys out. We need to see who wants to be someone on this young team. If anyone wants it, they need to. So you got to remember, this is a very young team. Youngest defense in football, right? Phil, do you feel the Eagles could be a bad team? No, I do not think the Eagles are a bad team, Bruce. But I think they might be an incomplete team. I do think you could say not as good as last year. I think the bad team word isn't right, but not elite would be safe to say. Does it make sense the way I said that? Schwarber is looking for 4 years, 120 or 5 years, 150. You think the Phillies pay that much? I don't know if they will or not. And there's only so many teams that can and will pay him that much. So I said 130 was what I originally said. I'm okay if they do it. I'm also okay if they don't do it. You got Turner, you got Harper, maybe you got Alonso, maybe you still got Bohm. You got a lot of DH-type guys in their career. So it'd be really great to leave that DH spot open, kind of a flex position for some of our guys. Hey, we gained a new subscriber. I want to see 760 at least. Guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, vote on the poll question. We got 20 votes on the poll. I guarantee we don't have 20 likes on this video. I don't know if you guys understand that people are tuning in at night. Hitting those buttons helps the channel grow so much. Add Nolan Smith to that list as well. Absolutely. Absolutely, Nooms. You're spot on with your thoughts tonight, right? Part of me feels that trading for someone is not exactly the answer. I think the Eagles' problem is a systematic one. On offense, I think it's systematic. On defense, I think it's personnel or injuries or whatever. It's defensively speaking, it's the fact that you lost 5 contributors on your defense, right? So that's a part of it there. My honest opinion, do I think the Eagles bounce back this week? It's going to really depend on who the quarterback is playing for the Minnesota Vikings. I think they do. I went over these stats yesterday on the morning show. Since week 7 against the Raiders, Todd, in 2021, the Eagles have only lost back-to-back games 4 times. Right now, the 2-game losing streak, and in 2023 a couple times. And that's it. So the odds of us losing again, but one win this week against Minnesota doesn't necessarily mean that they're back, okay? It just means they bounced back and got the win. It's the if they win, but win like they did earlier this year against one of those other teams, it doesn't mean they're back. I feel sorry to say, but I feel it doesn't make a difference what changes to make, because since Rob will be back, yeah, I mean, I'm going back to the Jimmy Rollins as his bench coach theory, so that when we have to fire him mid-season, Rob Thomson, he can just step in. We are one of the youngest. I think Green Bay just became the youngest defense. We were the youngest to start the year. I don't know. Maybe that's changed, Eric. Eagles will win the Super Bowl. Zach, what's up, my man? How you doing? F the draft picks. We about winning respectfully. I get that. And I agree with that to an extent as well, Marshawn. There's nothing wrong with you saying that. You got to think big picture, though, as well. F the draft picks. But does trading for so F the draft picks. Okay, and I get that because I agree. Does trading, say, a second-round pick, your second-round pick this year, and go get Trey Hendrickson on a 1-year deal, well, just this year, does that put you over the top for the Super Bowl? Probably not. Not good enough. You got it. We got 23 people watching right now, Adam. Guys, there should be at least 23 likes. Guys, hit those buttons. If we get our ass kicked by Carson Wentz, I'm done. Jim, I get it. Well, now there's rumors that he might not even be starting. He might be going back to J.J. McCarthy. He might be available this week. It is what it is, and that's that situation. Actually, I feel like we have a better chance against McCarthy than Carson. Carson Wentz will have his revenge if he plays. Dude, I tell you, when we do the live watch party on Sunday, right here on this channel, 1 p.m., I'm going to rock my Carson Wentz jersey just for shits and giggles. We need that young contributor to elevate us, but that only happens when you have enough grizzled vets on the same side of the ball. Not enough. I agree. We talked about this news in the offseason, right? Who was going to fill that Brandon Graham veteran leadership role? Thought it was going to be Zadarius Smith. Well, that didn't work out. Youngest defense now after Smith retired. So we went back. So we brought him in. It made us not the youngest defense. He retires, and we're back to being the youngest. So I have my opinion, but what is your opinion and what you need to see this weekend to feel confident these coaches got over their funk? It's hard to put it into words. I need to see not just a win. I need to see a certain kind of offense, effective plays, effective drives, a full 60 minutes of football. I got to see. I don't even know. It's a vibe I got to see. I can't get the words on what I need to see out. But I need to see what I haven't seen for the last 5 weeks. Wins and losses. The defense, I'm not worried about the defense as much as I am about the offense, which is weird because it's a cheap defense and expensive offense. It's Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni that worries me. Offense corrects most of the defense's issues by keeping them fresh. Yeah, but also you still got a Dory Jackson and Keely Ringo out there. Second round pick better get me a Sauce Gardner. Yeah, I mean, I've heard a few people talking about that. Maybe. I feel Rob did let down the Phillies as the players didn't seem prepared to play hard in the playoffs. I also feel he messed up. Absolutely. And I can't wait to hear why on Thursday at 11 a.m. when Dave Dombrowski speaks and Rob Thomson speaks, why he's coming back. How he has the salary built to pay some guys next season. Absolutely. Absolutely. Maybe Jalen Carter's cost himself a couple dollars. So maybe they can afford Trey Hendrickson. I don't know. Negative energy killed the Phillies season, not Rob Thomson. When you take on in baseball, you take on the personality of your manager, and Rob Thomson is an energy killer manager. All right, we gained 2. Up to 760 today. All right. Can we go to 765? I had a bold goal to get to 800 this week, but it hasn't started off hot enough this week to get to 800. I would love to see 800 subscribers. And you know how we do that, Adam? We like this video, we subscribe, we share it out. I know you got my back always. Does everybody else? I need to see a win first, then we need to build off the win, much like the win against the Browns. Absolutely. I think it's not just a win. It's how you win and what you follow that win up, right? Dominance, maybe. Yeah, I mean, a dominant offensive performance would help. Going out there and scoring 40 points would help. I don't know if you're going to do that. Rodgers will have 2 pick-6 this Sunday. I'm like, Rodgers, who? Oh, Isaiah Rodgers. God. Talk about revenge game. We thought it was the Carson Wentz revenge game. It's going to be the Isaiah Rodgers revenge game. Way too many long fields for the Birds offense. Absolutely. And you know what? I hate it, honestly. Kevin Patullo in his presser today kind of threw Michael Clay and special teams under the bus. And yeah, well, we always have these long fields. So he made an excuse there. Four full quarters of play, quick developing plays, and all of 97% of Saquon's runs on the outside. So none up the middle. Yeah. We were not the Care Bears the Phillies needed this year. No, we were not. Yeah, 9 more for Mitchie Poo. Absolutely. Last season when the Eagles got their act together, they were having fun. It doesn't feel that way now. So there's a question. How do they get their fun? That's a question for the Phillies, the Eagles, the Sixers. How do they get their fun back? How does Stella get her groove back? How do our teams get their groove back? Having fun, laughing, looking like they enjoy playing with each other. These players don't look like they enjoy playing with each other. No more high school mirror concepts, please. Dude, go, if you're not on Twitter, I don't know if you posted anywhere else, but Brian Baldinger posted a video this evening about the repetitiveness of the offense, and you would get such a kick out of it right there. I would take a 2-3 final score win at the 2-3 final score win at this point. I need more than that. CJ is the fun guy who gets shit done. And that's what we start to show off with. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is available. Do you want him back? And while I was anti him when he got let go by the Texans, now this team's different than that a couple of weeks ago. And the fact that so many people are against it now drives me nuts. Baldy gave it to Patullo. Absolutely. I didn't watch the whole video. There was just a 2-minute clip on Twitter, Marshawn, that I saw. So I don't know what the whole episode went into. It was the part of the video where he broke down. Well, you're on Twitter too. I just learned that. Where he broke down how many times they ran, 2 to the left, 2 to the right, like the same concepts. 2 underneath, 2 over the top, and how predictable it was. Should we fire Patullo and bring back Doug? Now, I don't want Doug Peterson back. Maybe as a consultant, but that's it. Got to see who other coaches are fired. Obviously, Mike McDaniels, everybody wants him. You got Brian Callahan, auto parts or brake pads, and you got Kevin Stefanski potentially soon available. I don't know what you do. I don't. Scott Loeffler should be calling the plays right now, honestly. How he got to admit his mistake twice. Yeah. Somebody responded to one of my posts tonight. Would he expect or would he accept his mistake twice? It's a tough question. Do the Birds have the 2 most epic Super Bowl wins? They really might. They really might. Except the Jets in 69. I don't know. They're pretty epic. I think the most important question is, does CJ want to come back here after we did him dirty twice? Well, I don't think we did him dirty this time. I think he understood it was a financial business decision. And that's it. 2 most epic Super Bowl wins of the there you go, 21st century. There you go. If the Vikings see Baldy's clip, we are cooked. I'm sure they saw it. I'm sure they didn't need to see it. That's why we need to see something different. Even childish in the morning, childish at night, but I love it. I don't know what I would do without all you guys commenting. This would be very boring without listeners, without comments on a daily basis. We're at 760. We're up to 14 likes, even though there's 19 people watching. And well over 20. Well over 20 votes on the poll, 22 votes. 95-5 is the poll right now. Yes, it is a must-win game for the Eagles. I think CJ would take any job. And I said at the beginning, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is at a crossroads in his career. He's still young enough, okay, to get another contract. But he's now been on, whoever he signs him next will be a 17 in 4.5 years. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's a Super Bowl champion. Yet he keeps getting cut. He's going to have to prove himself. So wherever he goes, it's nut up and shut up time. He's going to give a different style of personality. Because if he can go out there, wherever he goes and play well, somebody might take another year on giving him a 2 or 3 year contract. Not big money, but something. Baldy's almost right always when it comes to the offensive line, period. And then when it comes to the Eagles, absolutely. Well, even if he understood the second time, he still seemed pretty, absolutely. But that's what Chauncey does. He chirps, right? He chirps. And I get it. We don't need distractions. But we do need some spunk and personality and some swagger. He's got all that. And on top of that, he's the only guy you could go out. You bring in somebody said earlier, Stephen Gilmore, right? Or trade for Trey Hendrickson, right? They got to learn Vic Fangio's system. CJ knows it. Is CJ Theist polarizing glue the most polarizing? I don't know. He's polarizing, all right. You should see the thread on Twitter of me posting. All I said was, odds are he'll be back. Because of I put all other context in it. Over 90,000 people viewed that tweet. I got 300 comments on it in literally like 3 hours. And half of them say, I don't want that effer anywhere near this team. And the others say, 110% bring that effer back. CJ been on more teams than the Kardashians. That is not a reach, that statement there. While it sounds funny, it's actually quite honest and accurate. KP probably watched the break, turned to Nick and said, well, there goes our bye week. Maybe. CJ is all yap and delete. The risk is small compared to the reward. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with you on that, Marshawn. 100%. 23 CJ is great. I don't know. Wasn't he 8 last year? Or was 23 last year? I don't remember which year was which. Whichever one he rocked last year was greater, because that's the one that we won a Super Bowl with, right? Just give me Super Bowl championships. Just give me chances at Super Bowl championships. That's growing on me, this beer here. A little nasty at first. For sure, I completely understand. I'm with you. I totally would want him back. I just don't know how he feels. Oh, I get it. And I think, from what I've read, from what I've understood, from what I've heard, he doesn't hold ill will towards the Eagles organization this time. He wants to win, and he wants to go somewhere where he's going to be showcased and given an opportunity to showcase himself so that he could get that next contract. Is that Philly? I don't even know. Maybe he doesn't want to come to Philly because he's not going to be a definite starter all the time. It's not like Chauncey partied and shot. Like, all right. What was his name? The Giants the Steelers wide receiver that did that. What was his name, Marshawn? The Steelers wide receiver that did that? Phil, even the easiest play that we could make got messed up by Kirkgreen because he was not prepared. Like, I feel bad for Kirkgreen. Bruce, you're right. Kirkgreen screwed up. Kirkgreen effed this team. But you know what? That is not why we lost the series. We lost that in that moment because of it. But that was not why we lost. We lost because our hitters couldn't hit. Right? And I feel bad for him. Kirkgreen's getting death threats. Kirkgreen probably isn't going to be back next year because of that one play. It sucks. Number of people whose opinion I respect that think A.J. Brown's time has outlived its usefulness despite being the most important player on offense. Look, I get it. And I'm willing to have an A.J. Brown conversation after the season, Nooms. But in the season, he's not going anywhere. He is not getting traded. So you want to talk about it in the offseason? I will gladly do that. Because I do think there's, at some point, going to come a time where they're going to have to move on from him or Devontae Smith. They're going to have to. Plexico Burris, that's who it was. That's the guy. Shot himself in the leg. What an idiot. Kirkgreen had one job to do. One job. Yeah, earmuffs. I don't know why I said F and not fuck, okay? We're trending in the PM here. It's 8:24 p.m. Got 18 people watching. There's not 18 likes. I don't know why I didn't drop the F-bomb. I don't know. I think I cursed too much. I think I got to work on not cussing a little bit more. Interesting. It is a prime time. There's no Phillies, Sixers, Eagles, or Flyers on. There's nothing on TV. So that's why we're here. We're supposed to finish the Ed Gein story tonight. That ain't happening now. So I'm here with you suckers tonight instead. The wife's a little upset about that. She really wanted to finish that tonight. But we got 3 big catering orders tomorrow morning, so can't do a morning show. So to keep the groove going on the channel, figured I'd give you guys my time tonight. We'll go to 9. Maybe I'll get an episode or 2 in. Yeah, the people that want Brandon Graham back, just let the guy go. Just let him go. Just let him go. Embiid redemption. Let me tell you something, Nooms. I was having dinner upstairs. I cooked a nice little dinner for the wife and I. And just playing around on my phone. Saw another comment about Joel Embiid. So I went to DraftKings, opened up future bets, saw Joel Embiid at 100-1 to be the MVP of the league. And you know what I said? F it. Dropping a couple bucks on that. Why not? And I'm like, you know what are the Sixers to win the finals? 35-1? Couple bucks on that too. Why not? AJ needs to just shut up and do his job. They won the Super Bowl and they're trying to get back. John, I agree with you. I do. He's definitely got some sourpuss attitude out on that field this year. And I hate it. I love AJ Brown. AJ Brown is arguably one of the greatest wide receivers in Eagles history. Put him ahead of T.O. in Eagles history. Harold Carmichael and him, are they the 2 best wide receivers in Eagles history? Definitely most talented. And he's out there with a sourpuss look on his face all the time. Potty mouth. You got to say it with the F. Mouth. Yeah, I like that. Is how he kicking himself for getting rid of Isaiah Rodgers. He absolutely's got to be. And Tyler Steen, and Mekhi Becton. Well, on to this weekend. I can't wait to see Uche and Azeez for a whole game. Look, I give Azeez Ojulari a lot of credit for stepping up the last 2 weeks after being inactive for how long. They're going to get a lot of snaps this week, along with Alex Hunt. Do we have to have a conversation? Can he finally step up? Can he finally do something? Because he's been pretty useless this year. And I kind of hinted at that in the offseason to expect a sophomore slump there. Joel is slim. Crazy to think Joel's build in college was similar to KG. That's true. When you got bad knees and a bad back, you know how you help that? You lose a little weight. You take some of the pressure off the knees, right? Dude, I'm feeling it now. Once I think I'm out, they pull me back in. Embiid won't win the MVP till he plays 80 games. Anything under that, yeah. He ain't playing 80. Alex Hunt was a reach for a reason. Alex Hunt, people put a lot of expectations on him because he had a great 3 or 4 games at the end of the year and in the playoffs. And everybody just assumed he was going to magically turn into the stud. I'm like, yo, pump the brakes. He was a 3-year project who had 3 good games, right? That's it. Everyone's like, oh, he's going to get 10, 12 sacks this year. I'm like, yo, guys, pump those brakes. Hate to say it, but we kind of saw why Azeez and Ojulari were 1/6 of an ass chest. It's true. It's true, Noobs. You're not wrong there. Why don't hear Trot Jr., so I guess that is a good thing. We don't hear Trot Jr. Well, Trot Jr. was never going to really play much this year. As soon as we got Jihaad Campbell up to speed, you're not taking him off the field now that Nakobe Dean is back. You're never going to see him. Although I wouldn't mind. I don't know. Can you find a different role? Can he play on the outside? I don't know. Nolan Smith is still facing bust allegations. Man. Wilford Brimley reminding us to take our diabetes seriously again. Thank you. Rylan, what's happening? Make sure you hit that like and subscribe and share button. It's Chauncey Gardner-Johnson being released from Baltimore. Do you entertain? We've talked about this for almost 59 minutes, Rylan. You're coming in late. Yes, you'll bring him back right now. The ship might have sailed, honestly. But I'm doing it because the risk-reward, the risk does not come anywhere near the reward. And yeah, Drew Makuba's raw. I don't know what he is after last week, but going into last week's Giants game, he was the number 3rd ranked safety in the NFL against the run, but like 59th against the pass. Chauncey takes some of that pressure off of him, right? We called Drew Makuba a mini CJ. We'll teach him, CJ. And like I said it to other people on the show when they ask it, Ryland, You bring him in because he's got a lot to lose. He's looking for his next contract. He's got to keep his mouth shut. He's got to play hard. He's got to earn that next job. So wherever he goes, he's going to be kicking ass. When is the Sixers home opener? You'll be there? I don't know when the home opener. Still got about a week and a half till the season starts. But we did hear that Joel Embiid is going to play, potentially, in the last preseason game. Nolan Smith's biological father is my glass. What? Yeah, diabetes. Yeah, you got to say it right? My bad. Seriously, Dougie P, offensive consultant. What will TikTok think of next? Yeah, it's not a good idea. Can Trotter Jr. return kicks or punts? No, he cannot. Too sweet? Too sweet. What's Brad Childress doing? Is he even in football anymore? Seriously. As long as Kevin Byard stays the F away. That is true. That is true. Biological father is Mr. Glass. I did not know that. That's what you're saying. Mr. Glass is what he is. Got it. Guys, we're an hour into this show. I planned on going 90 minutes. Maybe we'll go a little bit more than 90 minutes. As long as the comments keep rolling in, as long as people keep liking and sharing and subscribing, we'll keep talking. Right? We gained 2 subscribers. Not enough, but we gained some. Right? We gained 16 likes. That's still not enough as well. But whatever. We'll keep cranking along. Swank Steele. What other horror stories from Eagles past can we bring in to save the season? I don't know if I want anybody saving this or being brought in at this point. Everybody wants everybody other's team's failures in the coaching ranks to consult. And I don't know how I feel about bringing in a coach that gets fired this year. Okay? If you want to bring somebody from a past that's had a year off, fine. Oh, no, it's okay. This was a late, last-second, show. I normally go live in the morning, not at night. And we go live for all the Eagles games during the game as well. It's all good. And the one thing you'll get with this show, Rylan, you don't got to pay. You don't got to pay to have your comments put up on the screen. Other channels, only the tipping people. No, everybody's comments gets put up on the screen. Pat Shermer. Not happening. Yeah, I don't know what we got kick returning right now. What's Marty Morningwig doing? Dude, I joked about that like a week ago. Don't even start with that. Will the tush push be banned this year? It can't be banned in season. I don't think there's a rule for or a way for them to do that. But on the flip side, it will definitely be banned after the season. No doubt about it. 761, there we go. There we go. We're marching on up. Somehow I got to get to 800 this week. I don't know how. Shermer is working for Coach Prime. Is he? Interesting. Dana Bible. Who? I don't even remember Dana Bible, to be honest with you. You don't have to be sorry for saying that Rob's a bad manager. I agree. It just seems like he's going to be back, so why should I get upset? Got to find ways to got to give him better tools, I guess, to lead this team. That's why I want Mr. That's why I want Mr. Jimmy Rollins in the dugout with him. So when we have to fire him mid-season, we got the next guy there. I'm also for going out and picking up Asante Samuel Jr. if his CT test comes back and says, I agree. He's not going to play this year, Asante Samuel Jr. But if you can pick him up and stash him for next year, I'm all for it. Hire a guy who got fired and you don't have to worry about him leaving. Yeah, I mean, I'm saying that. People are like, oh, well, Mike McDaniels gets fired today. Tomorrow he needs to be in the Eagles. No. You can't bring in a guy immediately after he's fired. You got to give him some time to cool down. Give him some time to reset from his failures. Give him time to remember what got him the success in the first place. Who? Look, I love it. Jose says, it's crazy to think that many top NFL team seasons are not going the way they hope. Think about it. We think it's all bad and doom and gloom here in Philly. Is Buffalo doom and gloom right now? Washington doom and gloom? Probably not. Maybe we can have another morning wig standoff with Jim Washburn. Let's just bring in all the bad news. Don't bring James. No, we don't want James Franklin either. I don't even know what James Franklin is. Like, was he an offensive mind or a defensive mind? I don't know. What about Mike Crow? As long as he's a Sicilian. Yeah, you got to keep the Italian thing going in the Eagles coaching ranks and front office and stuff. Got to bring in more Italians. Us Italians know football. Sidney Brown? Not Sidney Brown, sorry. Sidney Jones? Is he in football? I doubt he's in football anymore. No, I know who he was, but I don't know if he was an offensive-minded coach. Like, was he an offensive coordinator beforehand or a defensive coordinator beforehand? I know James Franklin was the Penn State coach, and he's getting paid almost $50 million to sit at home. There was a rumor going around that is part of his contract that if he got fired, he was required to try to find a job. I don't want him finding that job in Philadelphia as a consultant, though. I'll give you that. He wants to be my producer here on the morning show. Maybe I'll let him produce. He'll probably fall short of all the goals I set, though. John D. Filippo, yeah, that was another bad one. If you show McDaniels, KP, and Nick's playbook, and he'll remember. Can he? Can Big Dom call plays? Cote's alive. I don't think he coaches anymore. You know, when you bring up the Cote era, made me think instantly of another bad Phillies manager from the same era, who I didn't know till this year is still a manager in baseball. Former Phillies manager Nick Leyva is an assistant bench coach. I forget. Was it Pittsburgh most recently? I was just shocked that Nick Leyva was still around coaching. There's a lot of guys that could do a bad job like Ringo and Jackson. I could. I wouldn't allow Franklin in the court. I wouldn't allow Franklin anywhere. Okay? Flip is coaching the Memphis Showboats, is he? Head coach? Barb! Yes, a random late night show. I mean, we're already an hour and 10 minutes. I don't know how much longer we're going to go, but we're here. As long as the comments keep flowing and people keep tuning in, we'll stay. Bill Belichick is a consultant. He might get fired soon. I don't know. I wouldn't allow Franklin in Costco. Look, I said it before. I'll say it again. I love Phil. Gracias, senor. Thank you for tuning in tonight. I appreciate you. All the comments. Great stuff. Wouldn't allow Franklin. Where was I going to go with this? I lost my train of thought now. Saw Phil saying goodbye, and I lost it. Oh, the Bill Belichick stuff. He's already under investigation for recruiting violations. He's already rumored to get fired. It's crazy. It's crazy, that situation. It's not a good week. It's not a good week. That's definitely to say the least, Barb. Let's have Kerry Williams pick out a scone for Bill Belichick to consult on deflating footballs and camera angles. How to cheat? Yeah. Maybe if the Houston Astros were still in baseball playoffs, maybe they'd bring him in to consult, right? He'd actually make a great consultant for them, right? What do we got? 23 people watching on YouTube. I guarantee there's not 23 likes on the video. We're sitting at 461 or 761 subscribers. Let's go. Please share it out. 25 votes on the poll. 92% say yes, it's a must win. I want to know why 8% of the people voted no, Sunday is not must win. Let's have Bradley Fletcher line up at cornerback 2 one last time. Hey, James Bradbury's a free agent right now. Let's be honest. Is it safe to say the Flyers are the best team in... Oh, my God. Is that even a real thing? I mean, it might not be the craziest comment in the world. Oh, man. Oh, you're crazy, Adam. You're crazy. Do you know what? I'm screenshotting this. I got to screenshot that and save that for later. We'll put that up on Twitter after the show. Flyers fans assemble. That's right. Let's go Flyers. Franklin was asked he was good at recruiting high school players to come play college. Only held on to him for so long because of the whole Sandusky thing. They needed stability. Okay. But your inner Ken Hitchcock. Oh, Ken Hitchcock. I remember him. Let's go Flyers. That's right. Yeah, that's a good thing, right? I actually think we'd be better off. I said this earlier in the show. Better off if J.J. McCarty actually starts than Carson Wentz. Because J.J. McCarty's just nothing yet, right? My big fear, my big concern is who's stopping Justin Jefferson. I could throw the ball to Justin Jefferson and be successful. Let's have a book. What was how? Didn't he go to Pittsburgh after here? Oh man, he was bad. 8% think it's a schedule loss. God forbid. We need no more losses. Why are you sad? Don't be sad. There's no reason to be sad. Yeah, our Philly teams suck right now, but well, no need to be sad. Just refreshing on the side. Still stuck at 16 likes. Not good enough, guys. Not good enough. Good night, Jose. Glad to see you in the chat tonight. Hitch equals Captain Kangaroo. The Boy King is if Jalen struggles, Will McKee. No! I don't even want people joking about the Tanner McKee shit. It is not funny. It is not funny. You guys listen to too much Dan Sillyman and Chris Simpleton and Skip Paylesses. You guys got to be stopping with that. Boykin was actually good here, but he wanted to play on the outside, but he was only 5'8". Because back then, you only got paid if you were the outside guy. I get it. Didn't he go? I think he went to Pittsburgh after here. It's all about the playoffs, and I'm not panicking. Barb, I agree with that. 100%. It is all about the playoffs. We still got a game lead in the division. We're only 6 games in. I mean, we were 2-2 to start last year. So you know what? We are fine. But there are problems that got to be addressed, and there's problems that got to be fixed. McKeester's really dude, McKeester's really do. The fascination with backups just drives me nuts in this city. Champions hit. That's right, James. That's right. J.J. McCarty, Paul McCarty, bench Jalen for McKeef, Eagles in 5. Eagles in 5? I'm so sad James Franklin was fired as a Michigan fan. Oh, okay, gotcha. I saw a few people suggest to bring Darius Slay back. Pittsburgh needs a wide receiver. I have suggested trading Jihaad Dotson because he's a free agent. Whatever we trade for, we're going to lose more picks. Use him to recoup a pick. Darius Slay, man. We trade Jihaad Dotson for Darius Slay straight up. Would you do that? Is that who that is? Is that a name from Dexter? I never watched Dexter, so I don't know. Would you do Darius Slay back? I mean, I know he's a little old and long in the tooth, but he's better than Adoree. He's better than Keeley. I don't know who that is, Jokies. I've never seen Dexter, so I'm guessing it's a character that he obviously killed. So spoiler alert, thanks a lot. Never watched it. Who? Oh, boy. Interesting night here with you guys. Interesting night. I don't get the reference. As a person that's never watched the show, I can't understand a reference if I never watched the show. But you did spoil the show. You did. Plain and simple. Good job. Thanks a lot. Right? We did jump up to 19 likes finally. Still stuck at 461 subscribers. First off, you can't even start Tanner McKee because you can't. I know his name's Tanner McKee. Did I say Will McKee? If I said Will McKee, I don't even remember saying it. The Killing was a good show. Haven't seen that. I started to type a post about Slay, but I pulled a hammy mid-sentence. I hear you. It's an idea. Look, I'm trying to get creative any way possible at this point. I'm just trying to find a way to get creative here, to fix the secondary without having to trade anything. Dude, the defensive line, Ryland, is not just cooked. It's brutal, man. Jalen Carter's hurt. Who knows if he'll play this week or not? The line is so bad right now. What was once a strength is a massive weakness. And there might be too many holes to fill. Willie Greer better than McKee. They had him hyped up. Will Greer, I remember that, yes. Slay at least apologizes after letting up the game-winning touchdown. That's true. Wilfred McKee? Who said Wilfred McKee? Is that like Joe Cowley trying to unalive himself and missing high? What? Aaron McKee. Underappreciated Sixer. Since we're bringing back those jerseys this year from another, and hip hop. Hip hop's coming back too. Can't forget the hip hop. We'll be back in the stands celebrating. Diabetes. I really think that all these random accounts with weird names are just burner accounts of your guys. I really think so. Derek Coleman would have killed it. No, he wouldn't have. He would have killed it because he would have been the poster child for load management in this era. My nightmare, heel injury being the beginning of an eventual torn Achilles. Why would you bring that negativity? Why would you bring that negativity into this? Nooms. Man. I mean, you're right. That'd be brutal. That would be the end of the season right there. No, I don't think you're the real Rose. Coleman can rebound and shoot the three. And he was also fat and out of shape. Like massively fat and out of shape. Oh, okay. You know, it's hard. It's hard to keep up. We're at 231 comments. Plus, I had 300 comments this morning. So I've read over 500 comments today. It's tough. It's tough to keep up with all these things. I wonder if Blanche has an account. Maybe. I don't know. I guess you're going to make one. October 25th, the Sixers home opener against the Charlotte Hornets. I'm in. We'll win that game, right? Start the season with a win. Rasheed would have killed it in this. Rasheed Wallace? Man. Saw a video of him this week on social media. Had something to do with him. Him being rude to a fan asking for an autograph or something. Miss you with that. Sorry. Anyway, what are we going on here? Is it too early to ask for my flowers about the Pittsburgh Steelers? No, I hate the Steelers. So because they got one Mr. Aaron Rodgers. I had actually a Steelers fan come into the pizza shop yesterday, I think it was, or maybe it was Sunday. I forgot when it was. It was the last couple of days. I said, "Oh man, Pittsburgh, man, yeah, good job this year." Blah blah blah. And he said, "Yeah, it's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan said to me, it's a shame that our quarterback is such a D-bag. It takes the winning fun out of it." Tony Kukoc. Oh man. If it wasn't managed properly, it was a perfect example of a mismanaged heel situation. RH6. Don't be besmirching DC. I'm not besmirching. I love DC. DC was a fun player. I was a DC fan. Rodgers versus Flacco. Rodgers wins, unfortunately, again. Rodgers is coasting. Okay? Coasting. British Knights. We talked about British Knights a few months ago on this show. Keith Van Horn. You want to say Keith Van Horn? I'm going to say Tim Thomas. Tim Thomas would have killed it in this era, all right? All right, I'll drop a Tim. I'll raise your Keith Van Horn. One Tim Thomas. Camden, I think. Eagles. A battle of PA. Man. That would be interesting. Tim Thomas, baby. I was thinking of somebody else because I couldn't fully put the name and the face together when you said Keith Van Horn. So I went Tim Thomas instead. How would Todd McCullough, Mr. Pinball Master, handle this day and age? I'll check raise your Dana Barrows with a Hershey Hawkins, okay? How much of the struggles do I blame on the offense of Patullo? Or how much do I blame on Patullo? I do blame a lot on Kevin Patullo. But you got to also understand that Kevin Patullo is hampered by a very, very banged up injured, tired, exhausted offensive line. Plain and simple. But I would say I'd put 50% of the blame on Patullo, 25% on the offensive line, 15% on Jalen Hurts, and 10% on just general execution. That's how I break it down. Are you going to stand up and say that out loud about Sean Bradley? He's a stand-up kind of guy. Bill Laimbeer or Lance Parrish? I don't really care about either of them. I guess Bill Laimbeer. Passed up on Tatum, Brown, Penny Hardaway, Dirk Nowitzki, Paul George, Paul Pierce. Look, Tatum, they never passed up on him. He never had a chance here, okay? I don't remember what year the Jalen Brown one was. Penny Hardaway, Dirk. Look, the Paul George one, I don't care. The Paul Pierce one always will annoy me the most out of all of them. Out of all of them, Paul Pierce will always be. The Jason Tatum one annoys me just because people don't understand we never stood a chance to get Paul Pierce or to get Jason Tatum. Didn't we hear all this when Brian Johnson was here? He can't call plays either. But the thing is, Adam, don't forget, for as much as we crushed Brian Johnson had the 8th-ranked offense in football in 2023. This offense was not this bad under Brian Johnson. Was it the Simmons draft? Okay, God, wasn't sure if it was a Simmons, Okafor, Noel draft, whatever. But yeah, you had to take Ben Simmons there. You had to take that risk on him there. Had to, right? Duck Wynn puts 200% blame on Patullo. He does, and it's fine. Are we just naming everybody? What was the other shooter? There's a white dude. Came from the Heat over to us. Capono? Jason Capono. There was a shooter that we got for a year or two here in Philly. He would have killed it this year. So I'm check raising your Kyle Korver with Jason Capono. Duck blames the Phillies choking on Kevin Patullo. Possibly. Jason Capono. See, I said it. I said it first. How many games does Embiid play? I'm going to set my over-under at 49.5. 49.5. And I'll take the over. If he plays 50 games or more, we're in the playoffs. We are. Hershey Hawkins, man. When young Phil loved him some Hershey Hawkins. Listen, if Pittsburgh and Philly meet in the Super Bowl, all Lost fans have to request they move the Super Bowl here to Pennsylvania. That's true. It's true. Without a doubt. If Joel Embiid plays 50 or more games, I'll put them at 48 wins. If he plays less than that, I got him at 38 wins. Dude, you're talking to, I was a big spoon guy. I was a big spooner. Love the crouch up. Spoon. Undersized guy. Poor man's Charles Barkley right there. Underrated. So I could go you step for step with unknown, with the lesser Sixers back then. America would be in a state of emergency if the Bills and Eagles met in the Super Bowl. Dude, that would be, I would love it. We haven't had mad chatter in the chat tonight, but that would be the ultimate right there. I'll take that. Good Chris Webber over Capono. I'm laughing because of the next comment. Somebody had to go make this account. Who hasn't commented in the last 5 minutes? Let me go through this here. I actually think it might be Nooms who's making these accounts because it's been 4 minutes since Nooms has commented. You guys are nuts. I hope whoever made the Blanche account, I better have gotten a 760-second subscriber. We're refreshing to see if the new account subscribed. All right? Nope. Didn't happen. Making up these accounts. I love it. Love it. Game on. You guys are nuts. Who's a more ugly Sixer, Tyrone Hill or Sam Cassell? Tyrone Hill had that E.T. bald-ass head, man. So did Sam Cassell. Tyrone Hill would be the ugliest, though. What's up, Brianna? There's still another Golden Girl that needs an account made, you know? Sixers played Boston very first game, then home opener. Gotcha. Donnie Brook, Donnie Marshall. Man, you guys are interesting. You guys are an interesting crew that I deal with. You really are. You keep me on my toes. Shelton Jones, that's a good one. How do I counter Sheldon Jones, though? I'll counter your Sheldon Jones with Jeff Malone. Okay? Or no, maybe Tim Perry. All right? Maybe a Tim Perry. We're really devolving here tonight. We really are. The value in this show is going downhill massively here right now. For sure. Oh, man. Remember when the fan base wanted Willie Green or John Salmons? There's a one right there. I like me some John Salmons. Like that. Or Speedy Claxton. Kenny Payne. We love Phil, the leader. He is awesome. I'm going to start. Anybody ever watch Viva La Dirt and their skits? The one guy started his own like cult and he didn't even know he did. Tyron Hill, the Brad Pitt of ugly. Yeah. I will counter that with Andre Turnover and Turks. Dude, we can go on and on. There have been a lot of bad Sixers over the years, obviously, okay? We know that. We know we have not had a good run with the Sixers over the last 30, 40 years. That's just the way it is, being a Sixers fan. I'm no leprechaun. Who lets Jim Lionel out of the house looking like a leprechaun with that little beard thing he rocks on Sixers postgame shows? My wife looks at me whenever she sees him on my team. She's like, did his wife allow that? I'm like, I don't know. It's ugly. Andrew Bynum was terrible. He played as many games in Philadelphia as Frank Gore did. Right? So, yeah. Anyway. Bo Outlaw. There's a name I haven't heard in a long time either. How about them apples right there? You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Oh, man. All right. I think it's time to start the wrap-up process here over the next couple minutes. Willie Green hosted a party and had a guest go missing forever overnight. What? Is that a true story? Because if it is, that's a scary-ass true story right there. Really scary. Dallenberg, Sammy D would have murdered the competition. Yeah. Can you imagine Sammy D and James Harden on the pick and roll? They hyped up Bynum, and then he never played, but he sold a lot of tickets. He did. Same thing with Joel Embiid. They sell the tickets. Tony Sharpless, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the situation here that we're talking about. This bit is getting stretched thinner than Dallenberg. That's true. Hey, I used to have a Mike Scott Hive ugly Christmas sweater. Tyrone Hill looked like Monstar from Space Jam. Yeah, he did. Sammy D was a good player. You know, not a great player, but a good player. Willie G. How about Hollis Thomas? You want to go small shooting guards. But Willie G was good. Interesting. I never heard that story. That's interesting. Anyway, we got to start the wrap up. Maurice Spates, man. How about Malik Rose? Marco Bellinelli. There's another good one. All right, there you go. We got the 30 votes, 21 likes. We gained 3 new subscribers tonight. Not great, not bad. The 800 goal that I had this week is just not happening. I'm going to put some negative thoughts. I'll cut this up to clips for tomorrow. I lost all respect for Eric Snow when he fell asleep in the middle of a Sixers broadcast when he was trying to fill in as the color guy on the Sixers telecast next to Mark Zumoff. And he fell asleep. Lost a lot of respect for him there. How do you fall asleep? It'd be like me falling asleep right here in the middle of a live stream. If I did that, you guys would probably think I died or something like that. I should put my phone number up on the screen. Call 911 if I conk out like this. Anyway, I got to wrap this up. Vucevic's career took off when he left Philly. I hate Josh Harris for that. Patrick Ewing, weird, yeah. Do you think Saquon will go down as the greatest Eagles running back of all time? I mean, he might already be. I mean, he's only the 8th running back in the history of the football to run for 2,000 yards in a season. Maybe? I don't know. All times, it's going to be hard to beat the Saquons of the world, the Brian Westbrooks of the world, and the Wilbert Montgomerys of the world. He's already top 5, Rylan, no doubt about it. This year's not shaping up to help that cause right there, right? So I need more information before I could say that. Top 5 already, slam dunk. Number 1, I don't think he's past LaShawn McCoy, even though he does have a Super Bowl. Matt Geiger. I already said Todd McCullough. You want big white dudes. Deuce Staley, top 5. Right now, you got no particular order. You got LaShawn McCoy, Brian Westbrook, Wilbert Montgomery, Saquon Barkley, maybe Deuce Staley, maybe. That's a smart point. Good point, Wilfred Bramley. I mean, maybe. I don't know if I have it, but maybe I do. I have a doctor's appointment in about 2 months. No, in about a month. So we'll check to see how my blood sugar is in a month, okay? Check back on November 19th, the day after my doctor's appointment. All right? All right. We're over the 90-minute mark. Time to wrap this shebang up here. No morning show tomorrow. I do have the Eagles check down, pre-set up to go live tomorrow morning about 7 or 8 a.m. Forget what time I clicked. So we got about an 8-minute show tomorrow morning. Matt Geiger, man. He had a good corner 3 shot. But I'll cut this up into shorts. I'll cut the check down to shorts. So there'll be plenty of short content tomorrow. And obviously the Eagles check down. It was a great night show. I had a lot of fun tonight. Like I always say, I got to do more night shows. Got to. I want to do an afternoon. I want to do like a 4 to 6 show someday. It was fun tonight. But no show tomorrow morning. Got to make the dough. This doesn't pay the bills. The pizza shop does. So got to make that money tomorrow morning while it's there to be made. So, guys, we're going to wrap this up right there. Thank you all for tuning in. If you watch this on replay, like, share, subscribe. Guys, everybody watching, go out and tell a friend. Tell one, tell all to subscribe to this channel, the #1 sports channel in Philadelphia, setting the trends for what sports talk should be in Philadelphia on a daily basis. I appreciate you tuning in, John. We don't get to see you in the chat often. I know the timing's not good in the morning. I'm new here and really enjoy it. I appreciate that, Rylan. That's all we're doing. We're here. We're here every day, except for tomorrow morning. Love meeting new people in the chat. Hope we didn't scare you away with some of the jokes, but we have fun like this every day. So, everybody. Oh, and Philly Press Box Radio. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m., Matt Watson from Philadelphia Sports Network. And myself, I'll be on with Chet and Bill Furman tomorrow night, 7 p.m., guys. Don't want to miss that. Bubbles up. Oh, it's always bubbles up. And for Rylan and anybody new, we end every show very simply. We say 2 things. We say, go Birds. And we say, bubbles up.